So let's get into it.
I've made every single one of my clients cry.
Telecoms, sales.
HR is about creating environments where people feel safe.
Are you asking me why social media just moves so quickly?
What the hell's going on with the bank?
Can we move on?
It's not something that I want to put out there.
I will put it out there. So let's get into it. Straight into it.
Sorry,
How rude.
He's trying to get vengeance on stuff I've done to him during the day.
How rude, Chris.
That's okay, because I'm going to leave that cut in and then just tag him in it. Just show his professionalism. Can we go now, boss? Are we good?
Apologies. Yeah.
Okay. And again, let's get into it. So, you're a banker
Yep.
with a B.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. HSBC.
Yep.
NatWest.
Yep.
What the hell's going on with the banks?
So I started in retail banking.
Yeah.
So in the branch network 15, 17 years ago. And this is when checks outnumbered debit card transactions 10 to
What's
1.
check?
Exactly. So we used to count the number of checks, and there used to be a huge, probably best part of a foot worth of checks a day going through the branches.
Checks are really thin.
Yeah, they're really thin. So you needed those people. You needed people everywhere because it was very transactional. And then when I left, 2 years ago, contactless payments outnumbered debit card transactions 10 to 1. So you've not only gone full circle, you've gone to the next generation trumping. Yep. So in 15 years, the banks have had to reinvent themselves so many times to keep up with it. We're no longer transactional. We're not seeing people as often.
Yep.
So the relationship's changing, but quicker than most, as you know, with technology.
I don't think I've seen my bank manager in years.
And they are.
You need to phone this number and talk to someone.
They're shrinking. And I mean, rightly so. I think they're putting the infrastructure in the right places. You don't need cashiers anymore. You don't need branches anymore. And I think actually.
For all the old people.
They're making. So something I suggested and something I spotted years ago was where that the banks would come in together. And you'd have like one teller, one desk for each bank in one building, and they've kind of done that with the post office.
I saw that. I saw the other day that there's. I don't know if it's in London. Where is it? They've got a multi-bank,
and it makes sense. Put the overheads in one. We're providing the service. We're providing for those people that need it.
Yeah.
But I said because banking and because people's needs and services are changing, the bank have got to change with them.
What's your view on CBDCs?
Can we move on?
We can if you want.
I think the banks are doing a good. I mean, if we go back to 3 years ago, when the world went on pause.
Yes.
I know the banks got an awful lot of stick, but actually, I think all of them did a fantastic job.
I think it was unprecedented. It was something that
the quickest a bank normally would release a new product would be 7 to 9 months.
Yeah.
They were doing them in days.
Yeah.
Of course, there are going to be kinks. Of course, there's going to be problems.
Although it did take me like 2.5 months to get a bank account open with NatWest, but
that was probably the user operator that was the problem at the time, rather than the bank.
I think it was more the bank manager that was the problem. But yeah,
I think they're having to change at such a pace and try and work out where to spend the money. And the tech is changing so quickly. Again, 15 years ago, thinking about an app would have never been on anybody's radar. Now we've got apps that are integrating with, they're trying to integrate them with shops so that you can get the loan for the purchase, and and it's really clever stuff that they're trying to bring in, which is great, because it makes the customer journey
better. Yeah.
But again, there's always going to be changes and things that they go, do you know what, that maybe wasn't the right one. And I think the relationship, which I know is important to me.
Yeah, of course.
Human relationship's always going to be key. And I think maybe some of the banks have gone too far. But then they are coming back and they're trying to put them in the right plations as and when they're needed.
I think it's hard because I think the generations that we have. So if you look at like our generation and back, are used to this personal in-person conversations, touchy-feely, that type of thing. The new generations, the younger generation, are used to digital age, are used to doing everything digital,
they're not as loyal as well. And I mean, my parents still bank with the same bank that they have done for the last 50 years.
I've been with my bank since I was 12.
I remember my first sort code. Now I've made the journey.
Hold on. Don't just. You remember your first sort code, right? You just glossed over the top of that, right?
So it was not only do I remember who I used to bank with, I remember the account number. I remember the sort code of it.
Do you remember the account number?
I don't remember the account number. It no longer exists.
But you remember the sort code, which
40 35 34 Oxford Corn Market. There you go.
But, there are so many things that I could say about you remembering that sort code, but then you were a banker, so okay.
And so but over the last 15, 20 years, you've got people not only moving banks but being encouraged to move, and incentivized to move on, and therefore that loyalty's been lost. So again, not only have we got a change in purchasing, the way that people try and interact with the banks, but their loyalty, their longevity, which is why I think it comes back to the relationship, where it's important. You have to invest in the relationship.
100%. Do you think in your opinion, do you think we're losing something in society because we're losing that loyalty and that personal touch?
Absolutely. I think the instant gratification that people want is absolutely a loss to the relationship, because on that instant gratification there is no chance to build a relationship. There's no chance to actually enjoy the journey. And I mean, be that in the sales job, but in anything, if you want it now. I mean, even if we look at some of the games that my wife will tell you I play too much on my phone and things like that, you can buy the first 20 levels if you want to skip through stages. You can. And we're after that instant gratification. We need it now because I want it now. And there is a difference between need and want. And I think actually at the heart of that relationship, that's the difference. I need X, I would like Y, and it's the relationship of how I get to X and Y. And it's not, I'm just going to chuck money at it. And I think that instant, I need to be able, who needs food within 3 hours, within 30 minutes? Amazon don't need to be able to deliver that quickly. But they can, so they do. And we then buy it because we can.
But it goes back to how we've become in society at the moment, is that thing of, it's not a thing of need anymore. It's if we can do it, then we're doing it. It's not that we've lost that should we do it. It's gone, we can do it, so let's do it.
Or more importantly, I must do it.
Yes.
How often do we get a new phone and then within 20 minutes it's a God-given right that it should be doing, and the facial recognition doesn't work perfectly because you've got one eye closed or something, and it's the end of the world? Well, wait a minute. 5 minutes ago you had to use your thumbprint, or before your last phone you had to put in your code. Is it that much of a time saver? No. But
I've got young engineers that work for me, and I would love to put like a Nokia 3310 or in their hands and go like, send a text message. Because like,
I mean, you remember when we used to have to count the characters because we got charged on text, and the Motorola Razor, the flip down phone. But what a phone! But
awesome phone.
Kids of the day won't even know what we're talking about, so I apologise.
No, I found in my attic a box of old crap, and I found an old actual phone. One of the ones that sits in the cradle. It's got the buttons on the side of it. Put it in the middle of my living room for my 7-year-old. Right, what's that? Don't know. Picked it up, looked at it. It's got buttons. Okay. What do you think it is? Is it a controller? I was like, no, it's a phone, but it's got a cable on it. Yes, it's got a cable on it.
Well, the closest you get to those phones now are the ones that toddlers have with wheels on.
Yeah. And
they don't recognise it as a phone. It's just a toy with a weird handle.
Yeah, exactly. With a pull along string and it spins, but they don't know it's a phone. Yeah, it is. But very much so. So now you've gone through your banking sector.
Yeah.
Of being a banker.
Yeah.
With a B.
Every time. 6 years, it's still not funny.
No, I know. It makes me giggle. So I know that you do business meetings for women's business meetings.
Yeah.
Why? Why only? So I know it's women only.
Yeah.
Why?
So I suppose I have to take a step back.
Okay.
Networking is an unhealthy habit I have, which I think a lot of people that know me will agree it's unhealthy. In so much as I do like doing a lot of networking.
Okay.
And I
Why?
appreciate. Comes back to that relationship. It's the icebreaker. It's the opener. It's the chance to meet new people. I like him. I'm going to have a proper meeting with them afterwards. It's a form of marketing for me, and I really enjoy it because you get to handshake, you get to try things. Certain networking groups, you get to try a new marketing pitch every week, and see if it works or see if it doesn't. You get instant feedback, quite literally, whether somebody looks at you or not. But I also appreciate all forms of networking. So the structured ones, the not so structured, the evening, the morning, the lunch times, the ones where there's a speaker without an etc. And I was arranging a few when I was in the bank, and obviously when I left the bank towards the middle of the pandemic, that network that I'd started. It was a Women in Business network. It's part of the bank. And they reached out and said, Howard, when are you doing your next event? And I went, I don't work for the bank anymore. I said, Howard, we didn't come because there was a bank title on the event. We came because you host a good event.
Back to the person.
Come back to the relationship. Yep. So the community asked me to run it. And as a also avid people watcher at networking, it's just an honor to look after that community. They network brilliantly. The relationships that are growing through that room are fantastic. And it's an honor every time to host it. So, and you and I have both spoken about liking a stage and talking. Why wouldn't I want to talk to 50 people once a quarter? And I get to host and I get to show off and I get to look after this great community. So yes, obviously there's always the elephant in the room. I'm the only man in the room. Yeah. But actually, while I'm looking and hosting, it's great. It's an honor and it's enjoyable. I learn something new from every event. I watch and I learn. I constantly learning another way to network, and I'm listening to the proper questioning because people in that room, they network differently. I'm not going to lie, they actively listen.
Okay.
They don't
engage. They engage rather than just.
They actively, instead of listening to respond. They're not waiting for that hook. Oh, I can talk about something I want to talk about and bring the conversation. They're just engaged with each other, both physically and emotionally. And it's just great to watch. And again, it's something that I'm forever learning. I will never say I'm the expert in networking. It's something
you've always got to be learning.
You've got to be because you know what? The minute you think you know it all, you're ended. So I say it's great fun. It's great. Why wouldn't you want to be in a room with 50 people? And
they're all business owners, right?
So we've got business owners, we've got young professionals, we've got owners of slightly larger companies. So we've got the full range of freelance through to some of the larger businesses locally, and we've got middle management there as well. So it's a great level playing field from everybody in the local community.
Gives you a good wide spectrum on the way things, I suppose, should run business-wise. I mean, in the fact of if you've got such a wide spectrum in one room, you can see every level of how business should be run and how business shouldn't be run, and the bits in between and the pitfalls
and they help each other. So you get these freelancers listening and actively supporting some of the larger business owners with their problems, and then vice versa. And you've got this lovely collaborative community working together, supporting each other and growing together.
What sort of things have you learned out of that room to put into effect for yourself that you didn't know?
For me, I and it's an old adage that I probably used, but I don't think I'd ever really appreciated. It was the two ears and one mouth. So you should listen twice as much as you talk.
Neither of us do that.
It doesn't come naturally to me. No, okay, I can fill an awkward silence better than anyone. So actually, for me, really try hard to just be the host, without trying to fill every conversation. And I really listen. And that's something that I say is probably the hardest thing for me. Also, as a bit of a fixer and a bit of a connector, I do sometimes maybe go at a faster pace than the person I might be talking to. So trying to hold back and listen to where they are at that moment in time. Doesn't matter what I've already spotted, it's irrelevant. My opinion is worthless at that point. It's all about, okay, what actually is the problem? And what are you actually here for? Are you here just for company and to meet new people? Or are you here to sell? Are you here to, what are you here for? And you can't gauge that in the first 2 seconds. You've got to really listen and ask some really open questions. Now, again, it sounds a bit cheesy, but you've got to ask the right questions to get the right answer.
Yeah, I think we've lost that the world over, or our country over, in business at the moment, is the people that they don't listen. It's not a thing of they're when you're having a conversation. So I found when having a conversation with other business owners, they're looking for the bit where whatever benefits them, they can interject and go, oh yeah, the sale, the
I mean,
yeah.
And don't get me wrong, and I don't think I'm trying to say that this collaborative approach is the only way forward. There's got to be something in it for everybody, of course. But you know what? Sometimes those relationships take years to come to fruition, and sometimes they don't. But unless you're properly listening and unless you build that relationship, it's never going to be a lasting one. And if you want to become a transactional salesman, amazing, go for it. I would much rather be a relationship person.
Yeah.
And build lasting relationships, make sales that last, and build long-lasting relationships.
I think as men, though, as well, we have this problem where we are solution providers. And I fall foul of this at home quite a lot, which is, instead of using 2 ears, a problem is presented to me and I'm already giving the solution, but that's not what is required. What is required is me to shut the hell up and listen and not give the solution and let the other person work through to find the solution. And I fall foul of this quite a lot, but I think in business, people fall foul of that a lot. I sit in business meetings and it's like, I'm just going to shut up and just sit here and listen, because actually this is the...
But it's the Cluedo question, isn't it? Oh, no, not is it Cluedo or
Clue? Guess who?
Poirot, one of those detectives. So it was the last question, which is always the most important.
Yeah.
So we can be having a 45-minute meeting, and it's the one as he's leaving the door that was the one that always solved the crime, always solved the murder. I know it's the wrong detective. We'll get there eventually.
It was. He's dead, isn't he? It was trench coat.
Yeah, that's the one.
Who's Chris? Who's the detective with the trench coat? Maybe a little bit before your time. No, we're not talking cartoon. Oh Jesus, what's his name? Well, it'll come to us. It's fine. Yes,
but it's that last question. So if you fix the first problem, you're not fixing the problem because you haven't got there.
Yeah.
And again, I think that's something that a lot of business owners they like fixing problems, and that's how we build great relationships, by fixing. But you've got to get to the actual problem, not the problem that's maybe presenting it first of all. Just because I have a dent in my car doesn't mean that I need that dent taking out. Actually, it's the exhaust that's the problem, and I know that because it's coughing up smoke. But you wouldn't see that if you just saw the dent.
Yeah.
Poor analogy, but I suppose
I would have gone more with just because there's a dent in my car doesn't mean I need the dent pulling out. The actual problem is I don't know how to drive a car. But yeah, it is that thing of listening, and it's one of the things that we're trying to do through everything that we're doing for social media at the moment, and YouTube and everywhere else, is that thing of finding the stuff that people can use to help them that they don't normally hear, because everybody's in too much vested interest in it. Buy from me. One of the things that it took Chris a little while to understand when we started was in IT, every single competitor of ours, when you go on their social media, there's a hook on the end or before of everything. It's like, you should have blah, blah, blah this because it does this. And come and talk to us and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, but you
that's
lost me.
That's how we were trained 20 years ago. Salesmen were trained to create the hook, create the need, and then sell.
Yeah. But that's not what works nowadays because
of the relationship change. And because, do you know what? If I've got the hook, if I know I've got a problem, I'll just pop onto my phone and I'll fix it. Thanks very much. And you mentioned information is out there.
Yeah.
It's all there. You want to do anything, it's there somewhere. There's somebody giving the guide away for free.
Well, now you've got ChatGPT and Bard and AI that just
will give you the answer.
Give you the answer instantaneously.
So we talk about instant gratification. You can't get much more instantly gratified, but it's now we're having to change. The information is not what we're selling.
No,
it's the 20 years experience, and that isn't a hook. That's not as easily shown. That's not as easily.
That takes time for people to understand that and to actually see it. I explain to my team all the time. We don't sell our time. We sell our knowledge. And it is that adage of the plumber that walks in, hits a boiler with a hammer, is there 5 minutes, hands an invoice for 250 quid, and the guy goes, "You're only here 5 minutes." He's like, "But you're not paying for the amount of time it took me to hit it with a hammer. You're paying for the X amount of years that I've been learning that I can walk in and just hit that spot with a hammer and it fixes your problem."
Exactly.
And it's
exactly that.
People find that really hard to grasp. So we've had engineers join us from all different areas and they've been at different IT companies where it's per hour and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, I don't get it because like it's an hour of my time. And it's like, yeah, but it's not.
And again, does it, just because it takes you less time to do it, does it make the end result less valuable?
Exactly.
Or if it takes you more time, does it make it more valuable? And I know a lot of creatives and a lot of designers have this problem.
Yeah.
My product is the design itself. It should not matter how long it's taken me to design it. If you want this rebrand and it looks perfect, there's the price.
Yeah.
The Nike Tick, which is one of those the most known brands around, was done by an undergraduate student or something. He was paid $10 originally for it. Mm-hmm. But it's lasted now, I believe, that the guy's been given shares in the company, etc. He has been remunerated fairly, but actually at the time, it was just it was that simple.
It's a throwaway logo, yeah.
But that doesn't make it any less valuable because it's now one of those most recognisable. That behind McDonald's, I think you're there really. So
well, yeah, this is true. I learned a thing or was taught a thing very long time ago. One of the things that we work by, and that is only outsource everything that is not your niche, that is not your strength. Whatever you do your strength and then outsource everything else because that's what other professionals are for.
Absolutely. And if you're earning £1,000 an hour and you're doing a task that you can pay someone £25 an hour, you're losing £975 every hour that you're doing that. But it's a big switch to jump to that.
It's a change in mentality.
Absolutely, because instead of saving money, which a lot of small businesses and freelancers and things that they suffer from, and actually, let's be honest, a lot of big businesses suffer from. We want to save money, we want to cut back. Yeah. It's the other mentality where actually it's much more, I'm going to go and win more business, I'm going to go and make more money rather than keep what I've got. So it's, as you said, it's absolutely a mindset.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get into that mindset sometimes. You need someone to challenge you, and you need to listen. You need to work with people close to you and build your tribe or whatever. Build that group of people that you hold accountable. They're going to drag you in the direction you want to go.
So now you're freelance.
Yeah.
Free spirit.
And I mean, we're kind of touching on it with the helping people grow. That's why I did it.
It's what you love doing.
I love helping people.
So I used to work with a business coach many years ago. And the valuable thing I found in it was that it was somebody who could hold me accountable for what I said I was going to do, because nobody else in my business can, because I sit at the top of the tier.
Absolutely.
Right. But also at the same time, it was that there was no filter on what they saw because they had no vested interest in whether I got offended by them shining a mirror on myself.
Absolutely. And one of the first places we normally go for advice is friends and family. And
which is completely wrong.
It's completely wrong place to go.
But yeah.
Now, sometimes we can get some brilliant advice from friends and family, but they're always going to answer. There's always going to be a catch. There's always going to be an angle.
There's an agenda.
So we're both married. My wife has a very clear agenda. She wants the roof over her head. So all of her advice will always be led by her output, which is we've got the mortgage to pay at the end of the month. So guess who I don't go to for advice? Because the agendas don't match.
Yeah.
I actually remember quite a while ago now, I came home from a prospect meeting. She said, all the buying signals are there before you meant. Did he sign up? I said, no, I refused him. And she looked at me and said, the mortgage is going out in 2 weeks. And I said, yeah, but it's not the right thing. Not the right thing for the client or me. And I slept on the sofa that night. So, but I mean, it's kind of that of her advice, and it's emotionally attached because she's got an emotional attachment to our relationship. My friends and my family have the same. But as an advisor, I don't have that emotional attachment. Now, don't get me wrong. I love working with my clients and we become friends, but it's a very honest friendship. Yeah. Where I get to call it out. I get to call the elephant in the room without having to worry about offending. And do you know what? If you are offended, great. Even better. It means I've hit a nerve. And it means we're moving in the right direction.
And then it's up to them to be self-aware enough to understand why they were offended in the first place.
Well, I help them. And again, that's one of the things I do try and help with is, okay, so why is that a nerve? Again, we've touched on the fact I'm a lovely, friendly person, but I've made every single one of my clients cry. And that's great. Horrible, but great, because it means I'm finding what's the emotional attachment, what's the barrier, and by doing that, we're identifying where you want to go.
Yeah.
Okay, why is that hurt so much? I've just asked you a question.
Why?
Words shouldn't really hurt that much. What's the actual problem? And then we get to investigate and explore that together and then build, again, we go back to that word success.
Yeah.
What's the point? Why are you doing this? Do you want to take over the world, or you just want to hand a nice life for you and your family? Because there's two very different businesses that we're going to build out the back of this. There's different actions. And what's important to you? Is it 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, and then you go home and you turn off? Or is it actually I'm going to work every hour God sends until Friday afternoon?
And then I'm going to stop.
And then I'm going to stop until Monday morning. Or do you know what? I'm going to do a little bit every day, but they'll be there for my family as and when I need them.
But there is no right answer to that, I don't think. No. I think it's like a thing of in my opinion, there is no actual work-life balance, because it is what works for you as an individual, for your circumstances, for your situation.
Absolutely.
Rather than pigeonholing somebody into a box and going,
and
do it this way.
I always say that there's no right way to run a business. There's lots of wrong ways for you to run a business, because what's right for somebody else isn't right for you.
100%.
And again, what's the old coach adage? Comparison is the killer of all joy. Don't compare yourself to anybody else, because there's no point. They're not you. They haven't got your experience. They haven't got your end goal. You don't know where they are on the journey.
That's why I believe there are no real competitors.
Absolutely not.
Because there's enough out there for everybody, and everybody is different, and everybody brings something different to the table. Doesn't matter if for me, doesn't matter if I'm up against another IT person that's been in the industry 30 years when I've been in the industry 20 years. We're both bringing a complete different perspective based on what we've lived through in our life and what has shaped us as human beings.
And our exposure, and everyone's different, like you say. So just because I'm not 40 yet doesn't mean I'm not experienced.
Shut up, because I'm 45.
Hey, well, what can I say? I thought I'd get one in.
Thanks. Grey hairs, you wait till you hit 40.
Well, yeah, my wife very kindly said that's next year. No, it's 2 birthdays away, but it's next year.
It is next year.
So,
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yes.
But it's the experience that's the important bit, and building success is different for all of us. So why would we ever try and do something that somebody else has done?
Yeah.
We can learn from everybody else. Of course we can. And do you know what? I love that. I'm going to take that. I'm going to pinch it. I'm going to use that for me. But I try and help my clients do that and build their versions of success.
Which is the perfect way to do it.
You're giving them grief for Red Bull. I'm powered by coffee.
So I used to be powered by coffee. I was very much powered by coffee. I've now cut it down to one a day. I've had 2 today just because I needed the extra.
Well, a conversation with me needs it. Yeah, I get it.
Well, Howard's coming in. I better drink some more coffee. No, I've cut it down now, 1 a day. And the Red Bulls have only been a thing for probably the last 6 months or so, because I cut Red Bull and stimulants out completely.
I used to do a lot of fizzy drinks.
Yeah, I'm intending to cut. So I'm controlling. I've over the last year and a half. So year and a half ago, I had a perspective shift.
Okay.
In everything, business, life, just the whole way my outlook on things. And along with that perspective shift came being able to control the things I can control and setting.
Nice.
Yeah, and setting what's the word? Challenges for myself which are just controlled by my brain. Yeah. So for instance, I'll give you an example. I take a cold shower every single morning. Freezing cold shower every single morning. Not just for the health benefits, because there are proven benefits in taking it. And I stay in the shower for a little bit longer every single day. Yeah. Because I'm pushing myself to go, well, you stayed for 30 seconds, so stay for a minute. Yeah. Stay for a minute.
You're running late these days because you're in there for an hour and a half.
not quite that long yet. Not quite that long yet. But just controlling things like that and going, actually, it's my brain that controls it for me to do it.
And it's that one step at a time, isn't it? I don't need to be able to run 10 miles today. I need to be able to run the first 5 steps. And once you've done 5, I can do another 5.
And it works in business. So one of my team all say it as well. And people who have known me for a long period of time and have been in my office a lot know that the atmosphere is different in my office because I'm different. And because I'm different, it becomes different and it becomes a nicer environment to be in, except for if you're Chris, of course, because it's a whole different relationship. He's become, so when he started working for me, he hated to be in front of the camera, right? He froze, like literally properly froze. So we put him behind the camera. He's so much more vocal now that he is behind the camera than in front of the camera. But yeah, so it is that those steps I've then gone, so now I implement them in the way I do business, because it's not going back to the instant gratification. It's not the instant gratification because my aim is to build something that outlasts me.
And again, this comes back to what your vision of success is. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to do it now. I want to do it in the next 20 years, 30 years. Yeah. 25. By
the time I hit 50, they would have discovered how to reverse aging. So I'm going to be around for a really long time. So it's fine.
Lovely. But it's that step at a time, isn't it? And we all overestimate what we can do in a day, but underestimate what we can do in a week. And we overestimate what we can do in a month, but underestimate what we can do in a year. Again, it's that instant
gratification. But we've been accustomed to that. We've been shaped into that culture of instant gratification. And I'm starting a business, and so I speak to people much like you do at the beginning of their business, middle of their business life, at the end. It depends where they fall in that they want IT. And it is that thing of, I speak to a lot of, and I don't want to generalize and say younger generation, because it's not always younger generation, but those that are just starting in business and go, wow, I haven't turned over £1 million yet. And it's like, but you've literally been going 5 minutes.
And again, this comes back to the conversation we were having before. I think the average, or the top 1% of this country earn over £130,000.
Okay.
So one of the questions I regularly ask of my clients is say, what does success look like? What do you want? And I normally get, I want to earn £100,000. So I tell them off. It's a round number. You've put no thought into that whatsoever.
You've done no calculation. You've just gone.
You've just gone finger in the air, 100 grand.
Yep.
Now all of my clients are trained and they have an actual number.
Because they've actually done the calculation, or they've gone 100 grand. Let's take off like £34 off it. So when Howard comes in, it'll confuse.
I mean, that's fine.
Hey,
if they're playing me,
it's
that's
their own
fine.
fault for manipulating. Yep.
But then anybody that ever tells me that they're over that 130, my instant challenge is, why do you deserve to be in the top percent?
And what answers do you get?
It's normally a big pause.
Okay.
Because they've never thought about it. And there's no one ever challenged them on it. Because again, we talk about this younger generation, and we've talked about participation and things like that. And we're not all winners anymore. We all deserve everything because we're getting involved.
Of course.
But whether we like it or not, there is a top 1% and there is a bottom 1%, and the 98 in the middle. So one of those healthy challenges, that unbiased challenge, I don't care whether you're in the top percent or not, but I'll ask you why you think you deserve to be there.
Anybody ever come back with an actual decent answer?
Work in progress is the best one I've ever come, and that I'm actually got more respect for. I want to be in the top percent. Okay, that's cool. That's brilliant. Let's build you. Let's get you there. Yeah. Let's work out what's stopping you getting there already. But no, I haven't had many great answers to that question. But again, it's one of those things we don't ask it. We don't ask those awkward questions. Our parents have always told us we can do whatever we want to do. Teachers have always told us we can do whatever we want to do if we put our mind to it. Well, you actually need to pull your finger out and do some work as well sometimes.
I watch a lot of stand-up comedians. I think it was Dave Chappelle turned around and was like, stop telling your kids that they're special, because they're special to you because they're your kids. They're not special to anybody else. I give two shits about them. They're not special to me. And it doesn't mean because you believe they're special, they're actually going to become something just because you look at any successful person, any successful businessman, any successful athlete, anybody that has had whatever they class as success in their life, it's through hard work, it's through putting in the time, putting in the effort, the blood, sweat and tears that come along, the learning of lessons of going, oh crap, shouldn't have done that.
I mean, here comes the coachism. Hard work trumps talent when talent doesn't work hard. And
but talent doesn't work hard anymore.
Nope,
that's the
it doesn't.
problem.
It's that entitlement. It's that I'm good at this. I should be amazing at it straight away. And we come back to instant gratification, and it's sad. And I suppose that's one of the things that's probably hardest for me is when you come across someone who is fantastic at what they do, but not willing to put the work in. And again, we touched on it earlier about the work-life balance.
Yeah.
And there is no right work-life balance. I think I'm one of the few people that advocate for the work to balance your life.
Yeah, 100%.
I know. I jokingly said that I use it with my wife when I don't want to do something at home. I've just got to go and do some work, and it actually balances that out beautifully for me. But actually, work is there to help us understand, and also understand how lucky we are on our life side.
Oh, 100%.
Be grateful for it, and be grateful for what we've got. A little bit like a hard day at work is great. We all generally feel great after a good workout at the gym, but also a good day work in the office. We feel good about it.
You feel when you feel that you've accomplished things. So one of the things that I have in the office is with one of my lead engineers that does a good portion of work is eating your frogs.
Yes.
Eat your frogs, and explaining what eat your frogs is, in the fact of it's the thing you really don't.
It's that most horrible thing you're going to do.
The horriblest thing you really don't want to do. But if you've prepared your priority list for the day and you go, okay, I've got 2 frogs, and you eat them straight away, the rest of it's easy and gravy. Because the rest of it is just like, oh, I've done that. So,
but then you get into the habit of doing it, and then over the long term, you get this huge development.
100%.
And again, unfortunately, it's like gym and weight loss is the normal. Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. So I've not eaten 1,000 calories today. That my stomach hasn't gone. Now, I've lost a stone nearly this year.
I was going to say you're looking trimmer than, but you know.
But that's, again, it's just consistent. All right, I'm going to lose a bit. But I haven't lost it all in one go.
No.
That's this year.
Piece by piece by piece by piece.
But also, you don't notice on the Monday or on the Tuesday that I didn't eat that 1,000 calories on the Monday. So wait a minute, well, why should I keep on bothering? But sometimes you have to work on through. And the bit where I get home and have a good day is when I've spotted that big change in one of my clients that they haven't noticed.
Yes.
And I go, do you know what? Over the next week or two, I've got to get them to realise it's happened.
Yeah.
And be that stopping the firefighting and actually look at the bigger picture. Now that's a huge change in a business, but if you're not noticing it on a day-to-day basis, you won't have seen that change. Planning for the future and plan is one of those words that is a true Marmite with coaches, whether we build a plan or not.
But it's hard to plan nowadays with all the shit that's going on in the world.
Absolutely, but we can work for a direction. And
yes.
Again, and we know what those frogs are. So we can build a plan. Now, I don't mind what that plan looks like. It can be a to-do list. It can be a 90-day plan. It can be a 5-year business plan, or anything in between. Yeah. But unless we stop and I want to point in that direction.
I want to get there, and I just need to figure out the bit in between.
Google will never get you to your destination if you don't put it in.
Very true. But you have to know the destination you want to get to before you can put it into Google to get your
And once you get there, you might go, do you know what? This isn't all it cracked up to be. I can change the destination. And that, again, is amazing.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to go to Paris. Great. I've been to Paris. It wasn't
that good.
I want to go somewhere else. That's allowed. Again, I think a lot of people get stuck in this. I've got to set this huge, really hairy, scary life ambition. And I've got to, I don't know, own the $20 million yacht. Why? I'm actually just happy with an extension.
Nearly every single yacht in the world, right? Random fact that I know in my head, is up for sale.
Yeah.
Always, constantly. Do you know why? Because they want the next big thing. And in order to get the next big thing, they have to sell the one there. So then basically the minute they buy it, it's being advertised for sale somewhere because they want the next one. And
is that, I mean, I personally wouldn't class that as happiness. That's certainly not success. Just chasing the next bigger, shinier one.
So for me, I think happiness and success go a little bit hand in hand. But at the same time, so I say it to my guys all the time. You have to do what you love. Yeah. Because if you don't do what you love, you're, one, going to be crap at it because you are not going to put 100% of your effort into it. 2, whatever it is you're producing, doesn't matter whether it's a product, a service, whatever, it's not going to be as amazing as you, because you don't love it. Mm-hmm. And I think being able to, I've said it many times over the years, and it still stands true. I don't come into the office to work. I come in the office to have fun because I love what I do. And that allows me to do stuff in the weirdest and wonderfulest ways possible because I'm not stuck in this, we work in IT, so therefore we must stick in this box. And that then floods out to the customers that I speak to and the clients I speak to, because we're not going, oh, you're a one-man band, so therefore you need these 5 products and you must sit to this line, or you're 100 staff and you must sit to this and you must have this and you must have... No, because everybody's different. Yeah. And business, much like a human being, every business is unique. Doesn't matter if you're in the same industry. You could take 2 car sales companies.
Yeah.
They're completely different. Just because they sell the same product doesn't mean that the humans, the business, the anything else is the same. So therefore you can't treat them the same, and you can't.
Might be different. Where they're going might be different.
100%.
You might have one car sale who's a family salesman and he wants enough food to put on his table and take him away on holiday twice a year, and that is happiness for him. Yeah. And then you got the other one that's owned by the big dealer and they need to sell £1 million worth of product every year, otherwise it's a failure.
I have a client who works in occupational health, and they started their journey in occupational health was a lifestyle business 6 years ago.
Yeah.
We've just now added the 84th staff member, completed the third business purchase to add to their company, and just opened one of their offices in a foreign country. And it,
Hell of a lifestyle.
and it was a lifestyle business. We were with them the other day up at one of their conventions, and the CEO turned around and went, "Yeah, it's a bit big, my lifestyle business."
But again, going back to that, we don't notice those changes.
It's just
You've got to stop and realise where I've come. I mean, again, the old adage, what's got you here is not going to get you there. That's great. But actually, you do have to appreciate you've got here.
Yeah.
And celebrate that. It's amazing. I think
not enough people do that, though. So too many people go, "Oh, so I'm at a £500,000 business." Just as an example, I'm a £500,000 business. I've got 5-6 members of staff, and I started at zero. But I want to be, my ambition is I need to be up here. But they don't look at that and go, "Shit, I took it from zero to £500,000 business." And I've got, as an owner, I've now got responsibilities because I have staff, and therefore you are responsible for that staff, and their lives and their families' lives, because working for you puts money on their table that gives them their mortgage and blah, blah, blah. But not enough business owners sit down and look at it and go, "Oh, shit."
But the other bit that so many people put on is they put their happiness on that next step. So going back to the yachts, I'll be happy when I get the next yacht. I can't be happy with this one because it's not big enough.
Yeah, because such and such has got a big one.
I can't be happy with this £500,000 business. I will be happy when it's $1 million. Well,
but then they get to $1 million,
and then it's not good enough anyway.
But I'm not happy.
So we're in this constant, and again, I think Steve Bartlett, he said it a couple of times, and again, it rings so true. Enjoy the journey. And again, you mentioned it. I don't come to work, and I come to work and have fun. If you love what you do, it isn't. You never work a day in your life and all that jazz. But it's true. And if you enjoy it, the success will follow you.
100%.
And if you
can
understand
enjoy
what
and are
stimulates,
good at it, then
even better.
Even better.
Yeah.
But you have to enjoy it.
Because if you don't enjoy it, what's the point? Life is too short, regardless of whether they.
I've said multiple times, the day I stop loving what I'm doing, I'm going to go and live on a beach renting jet skis. It's just something I've said for the last 15 years. And it's like, because I love what I do. I love talking to people. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes it's frustrating, and sometimes I hate humanity and humans in general. But
that's why you work in IT.
That's why I work in IT.
But also you have to have those bad days to appreciate and be grateful for the good days.
100%.
We have to go through the challenges to appreciate we've gone through it. Because if everything was that instant gratification and you win it straight away, that's why it becomes worthless. And that's, again, one of the problems.
Yeah, 100%. With all the people that you speak to, so across the whole section, so talking to business owners in networking, but also coaching people and talking to businesses, what are some of the common or some of the mistakes that you see that people make that are not just individual to the individual, that you see like a commonality across? Is there stuff that you see that people, you go, "Oh, Jesus Christ"?
I think I can say it in one word. It should. I should be doing this. And again, we've touched on this already. Comparison is the killer of all joy. I should be doing more of this. I answer with one word back. And why?
Because such and such is doing this, or because
it's not. They haven't got your goals, but the joy of that, I should be doing it, comes across so many things. I should be limited. Why? If your goal is only to ever earn £50,000 a year, you don't need to be limited. You don't need to be VAT registered. You're fine. Let's challenge that thought process. I want to be a limited company. I need to be a limited. I should be a limited company. Why? I should have employees. Why? I should work for myself. And again, this is something that I've helped a lot of my clients with. I should work for myself. Why? Why is being in business the best thing for you? What do you actually enjoy doing?
Not everybody makes a good business.
Not everybody makes a good business. And do you know what? Again, it takes a brave person to tell a business owner you shouldn't be in business. It takes a braver consultant to do it, because if you talk them out of their business, you can stop getting paid.
Yeah.
But again, going back to that question, why? If the business doesn't make you happy, why are you here? And it's again, it's my honor and my right as the coach. If you brought me in to help you understand your why, build your success, I would be doing my job poorly if I didn't broach that one just because of a selfish personal gain,
100%.
where I'm going, okay, wait a minute, this is making me feel awkward. My opinion is irrelevant. My gain is irrelevant out of this conversation. If you shouldn't be in business, I will support you to get out of business.
One of the biggest, so I know a lot of business coaches, right? And one of the things that never really fit right in my head with a business coach is the whole idea behind a business coach is to, when I went for a business coach, is to help me grow my business and take it to the next stage, right? Whatever that next stage may be.
Yeah.
Okay. But as far as my opinion goes, technically a business coach should end up working themselves out of being your business coach. Absolutely. Because the whole idea is to get you to whatever it is that you want to do, whatever your goal is, and achieve. But a lot of business coaches, and I'm generalizing now, but just a lot of business coaches, it's about the paycheck.
Yeah,
and it's that they're paying me every single month, so I need to keep going.
And that's, I mean, I think that can be for a lot of consultants. Again, it's
not, 100%. Yeah.
It's one of
those
not just
business coaches, IT consultants, cybersecurity consultants, recruitment consultants, freaking you name it, consultancy as a general field, 100%.
And I mean, that comes down to why you're doing it. If my goal is to earn £100,000. Guess what? I need to earn money.
Why £100,000?
It's because it's lazy. Don't do it. I don't listen to myself. My own advice. Come on. But if that's my goal, the quickest way to do that is to get 10 people to pay me X a month.
100%.
Bish bash bosh. Thanks very much. And then they stay with me for as long as possible. I'm done.
Yep.
If my goal is to help people, the byproduct is we're getting paid what I'm worth.
Yep. Because if I think I do it because I do cybersecurity consultancy and I do a lot of it now. I work on word of mouth because if I do a good enough job to get the company to wherever they need to be, Cyber Essentials Plus certifications at the moment, getting companies from zero to there. I do a good enough job. I'm not the most expensive in the world. I'm not the cheapest in the world, but they're going to turn around to another business owner they know and go, "Oh, you're needing that. Can I have a chat with that?"
And that's the power. And again, we mentioned about not being the most expensive, not the cheapest. Now, I'm probably closer to the bottom end of that scale.
Okay.
Now I'm
on purpose, or
I'm working with my coach on that.
Okay.
So it's a limiting belief I've got.
Okay.
And again,
so I'm working on that. I work well as a coach because I can come and bitch slap you.
Amazing.
So you, I was given a piece of advice: put your prices up.
Yeah.
Put your prices up by 50%.
Oh, that low? Okay, so double them.
50%.
Yeah.
And I went, why? I'll lose clients. Yeah, but if you lose 50% of your clients, you still earn the same amount of money, and you've got half your time back.
Yeah.
So Howard, put your prices.
Do you hear that, everybody? Emails in the post.
There you go.
But no, but it's. But I think the problem there, or the problem for me, is I know that I have the disconnect of what my why. My why is I love helping people.
You've been listening too much Simon Sinek.
Do you know what? It's on my shelf, and I've never read that book.
Have you not?
It's one of two books I've not read on my shelf, and the other one is Dale Carnegie. I haven't read it yet, but apparently people
they do them in audiobook as well for those that have issues with reading.
Most people think I've read Dale Carnegie's How to Make Friends, and just because of the way I am, but I've never read the book yet, which worries me. But apparently I
you might
showed
need to,
too many of the traits already.
You might need to write a book at this stage. Coming soon, Howard Feather's book. Yeah, it's a weird thing. When you start to actually go through the thing of, how do I put this onto paper? It's strange.
And I've started that process 4 times.
Okay.
3 with fiction books and 1 with a business coaching book or advice book.
Yeah.
And I've failed on all 4 because I've not thought about the ending.
It's never a failure.
I've learned.
Okay.
Don't coach me back. Come on. Behave.
It's not.
But I've never. So with the fiction books, I wrote them as I read them in my head.
Right.
And I mean, a lovely experience, but I always came a cropper towards the end because I could never quite tie the story up.
Okay.
And with the business one,
But you know that's correctable. You can go back and correct that because you write in the book.
But then I move on to the next one.
Okay. Attention span. Yeah. Okay.
New shiny thing.
Yeah.
And the advice book, I haven't worked out the point yet. And therefore, because I haven't worked out the point, I haven't been able to complete it. So again, interesting. So, I mean, from one learning writer
to another learning writer,
have a point.
Yeah.
And then it's easier. As long as you know what that point is before you start writing.
It is, as you'll know, if you've done it, even if you haven't completed it, the crap you learn along the way about yourself as well as
bonkers
is weird.
It's bonkers because your perception, you really challenge. Did I think that? Did I do that?
And you read it back,
and you go, "Really? Is that really what I think on that?" And you and it's bonkers when you, and especially if you're, and I think I know you well enough that you are one of those people that head down and just block it out. Right, I'm doing this, and then 6 hours.
Headphones usually go on.
Headphones
people
on.
Leave me the hell alone.
Let's say big pot of coffee, a couple of Red Bulls, off we go. Thanks very much. And then 7 hours later, I should probably stop. Kind of session, and then you read it back the next day and you go, goodness me, where did that come from? And it's just,
that's why I've ended up with a business. So I am now shareholder or owner in some facts to like 6 businesses. One of them, one of the most recent ones, was because my business partner from another business gave me an idea Friday afternoon at like 4 o'clock.
Oh, that's a dangerous time to give an idea out.
Yeah.
I hope you didn't say thank you.
No, I'm making him do loads of work because by Monday morning we had the entire business. We had the business plan built. Because I'd gone down a rabbit hole and gone, and then Monday morning, we've got a business in a box. We just need to register at the company's house.
Enjoy.
And now I'm waiting for a bank account 12 weeks later from Tide because I was like, I'm going to go for bank accounts online because my last thing with a bank that shall not be mentioned, NatWest, took me freaking forever. And it's like, okay, so everybody's not using like high street banks anymore. I'm just going to go online and do it. So I was like, Tide. Tide. We're 12 weeks on. I still don't have a bank account open with Tide.
So it's not the high street?
No, it's just the banking industry as a freaking whole. Like, hello?
Challenges that I'm sure they're learning to overcome.
Yeah, because the government's going to put the CBDT in place where all the banks won't really matter and we're not going to have currency and it's all going to be digital.
There you go.
And then they say to Howard, okay, Howard, but you've been naughty and you said something on social media that we don't like, so therefore you can't spend your money for 3 days.
And that's why I don't use social media. I worry about
it was one of my concerns when we started social media, because you know me, you know the way I am. Filter from here to here doesn't really exist. And then I watched, you've heard of Gary Vee.
Yeah.
So then I watched Gary Vee and he was like talking about the filter and he was like, but you have to be who you are and you can't please everybody 100% of the time, which obviously you can't. And actually, if people get offended by what you say, as long as it is not racial or inciting violence or, do you know what I mean? Something that is illegal and that it shouldn't, for morality reasons. If somebody gets offended by what you say, it's on them, not on you. Yeah. If somebody leaves a bad comment, so Chris had it, somebody left a arsey type comment, and Chris got quite offended, and he's like, I'm really quite offended and angry that they would. And I said to Chris, because I learned this from listening to other people, was, but the problem's with them. So think about what they're going through, that they've taken their time out of their day.
You're still connected. To
say something horrible about your video, but what are they going through in their life that they feel that they have to do that?
Yeah, but I mean, like I say, you've still connected.
100%. You've whether it's a good nerve, a bad nerve, or what, you've touched something and you've incited something, or you've drawn something out of somebody, whether it's good or bad or whatever their opinion is, but you've interacted, you've got a reaction.
I think the problem with the offence card is because the world's got so much smaller, your message gets out to a lot more people than, again, when we were children, our circles were 50 to 100 people.
If that, yeah.
Now kids have got millions of followers. So, it's just the variables, so the amount of people that you can touch.
Yeah. And offend.
And as you said, you don't know the end of the conversation. You and I are having a conversation right now, and we can read each other. We can read each other's body language. Yep. We come back to the relationship. We know each other. Yeah. We know we can get away with a little bit more than, okay, so I'm speaking to 100,000 people. There's one of them has having a bad day.
Yes. One of them's not going to like what I've just said.
One of them disagrees with everything I've just said, which is absolutely fine. You're entitled to your opinion. That is the joy of the society we live in, and it's amazing.
But you're not anymore is the problem. We get into a society where, back to that thing of participation and everybody's opinion matters. It doesn't.
I think
not everybody's does.
I think it comes back to on a one-to-one basis, we are amazing.
Yes,
and we will read the room one-to-one, and even maybe one-to-few. It's when that message gets diluted down to one-to-many, and many, we're not educated. The mob is not educated.
No, the sheeple.
It's the lowest common denominator.
Yeah,
and you've got to be careful with that.
Just like I said this to somebody the other day. So I was talking to them about the war in Ukraine, right? Guaranteed, if you put Zelensky and Putin in a room together, just the two of them, no cameras, nobody else around, they wouldn't be having a punch up or trying to kill each other, right?
And they'd probably even sort it out.
100%. And if you tell Donald Trump, he'd want to be involved as well. But do you know what I mean? But it is that thing of when it becomes, and you're right, the one-to-many is because, unfortunately, we're not all robots, and we don't currently live in like a Terminator Matrix world where we're brain controlled, apparently. So it is that thing of a group of people are dumber sometimes. So they say more brains or more minds are better than one, but sometimes that number can go too far because it gets too diluted, and then
we broached this with me increasing my prices.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've offended half my clients. They've walked. What's the worst thing that happen when you offend someone? But they walk away.
Yeah.
And as you say, as long as it's not hurtful, inciting violence or anything like that, what's wrong with an opinion?
Yeah.
And that is all it is.
Yeah.
And the joy of our society, the joy of it is debate. We grow business over debate. We grow relationships over debate.
Yeah.
That's what we should be always be proud of.
Some of my clients that have been with me the longest, we've had some of the heatedest debates possible over stuff, and they're still with me because they know I call a spade a spade.
Yep.
And it is that goes back to it's relationships. It's building a relationship with somebody, which can't be done instantaneously.
No, not at all.
It takes time, and it takes time to know somebody, know the boundaries, know that, and it all comes back to that's the same thing for businesses. And when you start a business, is you shouldn't expect it to be instant. Oh, why am I not? I'm a week in. Why am I not turning over £1 million already?
I've turned on my Facebook ads. It should have generated me £100,000 a month. Why?
Yeah, I haven't had 1 million followers on a video. It's a conversation me and Chris have all the time because we do a lot of social media channels. But I don't do it for the followers and I don't do it for the views. I do it because I want to add some value. And if people find some value in the stuff that I'm putting out there, brilliant. Right? And me and Chris have had the conversation loads of times. Like, it comes when it comes. It's like anything will come when it comes, as long as you're consistent and you're good at what you do and you learn. And
it's that bell curve, isn't it? It's really low to start off with, and then all of a sudden something will happen, and then the momentum goes, forwards. And then everybody wants to watch.
It's like the old adage of businesses: once you hit your first million, it then becomes easier to make money because it generates money for itself, right? That's what they say that in finance, in investing and all that sort of stuff. Once you hit the first million, it then kind of propels itself forward.
I mean, everyone, this is really going to split the room. I'm going to say something nice about Donald Trump. He lost all of that money that his father gave him. He made it again. He's still a billionaire again. Now, again, there aren't many people that can say they've lost it all and then made it.
Gained all that.
He knows how to live the billionaire lifestyle. He knows how to make that kind of stuff. And he's done it. So you're right. It's amazing that we, and again, I've just caveated that I'm going to split the room by saying something nice about Donald Trump. We can always learn something from every situation.
100%. 100%. Don't dye your skin orange. No, you're learning something, right? But it is. I think it's one of the things, going back to me saying to you that I had a perspective change a year and a half ago, and the way I look at stuff now, and the way I now have no expectation of anybody.
Yeah. I can never let you down.
If you have no expectation of anybody, then nothing that happens can let you down or affect you, because you are the one that controls you.
But more importantly, you can't control that outcome anyway. So why try to? We all try and control things that we only. It's amazing. Just control what you can control. We go back to my weight loss. I can control 100% what goes into my system. And I have a friend of mine who is regularly touching base to make sure that I am controlling what goes in. And he takes great pride in
what have you eaten? What are you doing?
Catcalling and But again, do you know, that's not for everyone. I absolutely know it's not for everyone, but he's close enough that he's happy to do that for me. And we are in control of what we can do. I don't run as much as I could do. I have to say could rather than should. But it's kind of, do you know what? I could do it more if I want to. I don't want to at the moment. I might do next week.
Yeah. I think it comes down to that thing of, back to what you were saying earlier on, that success is different for every business person, but success in whatever you do is different for every person. Yeah. I fast, right? Yeah. I do 18-6 fasts. Okay. I only eat for 6 hours of the day.
Yeah.
And I found I don't do it for weight. Look at me. I don't need to do it for weight. If anything, I need to put some on. But I do it for the cognitive benefits that fasting does for me, which I've proven it does for me. As in, I know I did a weekend splurge because I was at home with my kids, and it was like, did no fasting whatsoever, did nothing of what I would normally do. On the Monday morning, I came in and I felt as though I'd been poisoned. I felt awful. Like my brain was not in gear. I could not concentrate. I felt ugh.
See, at the beginning of lockdown, after I did a competitive eating series with a friend.
Right.
On YouTube.
Right.
Whilst fasting.
Search for Howard Feather on YouTube for competitive eating.
I lost weight while doing eating challenges.
Because you were only eating in a certain window.
And I was only eating the rest of the week. I kept my calories under control. I, again, like you, fast. I'm a one meal a day. 1 meal a day. Yep. And again, not because I think it's the best way to lose weight. It's the easiest way for me to lose weight because I don't think about food the rest of the day. And if I don't think about it, I don't make bad
For
choices.
me, it's made my energy levels through the freaking roof.
Absolutely.
My energy levels are just like.
And I mean, I've tried some of the longer ones. I got to 49 hours. Now, again,
24 is my limit at the moment. I've done 24-hour fasting, but I've not got any.
I tried to get to 72, but my wife wouldn't let me behind the wheel of the car. She said, she didn't feel comfortable with me jumping behind the car.
That's weird because it's fasting. It's not as though you went 72 or were aiming 72 hours without sleep. Then I wouldn't let you near a child, let alone a car.
And let's not beat around the bush. I can miss a meal or three. It's not going to be the end of the world. But there was a line for her where 48 hours was, and I think I got to 49, but that was the limit. She said, no, you need to eat something because I'm not letting you drive the car.
Wow.
But I mean, did I feel better after it? I haven't done it again.
No.
So I'd probably say no.
Yeah, whereas I find my 18-6, it makes me feel better, so I carry on doing it.
And this the one meal a day for me feels right.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Which meal do you do? Night meal, morning meal?
Dinner.
You do dinner. Yeah.
Really selfishly, it's the meal that I more often have with my family.
Yes.
So actually, all of a sudden, it's not about the food.
No.
It's about the family. It's about the family. It's about the experience. I'm spending time with my wife, my kids, and we enjoy a good meal. My son is a growing lad, so we try and eat the most, see who can eat the most, and I don't have to worry about it.
Love it. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Awesome. I know I've kept you for a really long period.
No, it's amazing.
Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure, mate.
Coming and spending time with us and talking about stuff.
Yeah, thank you.
And we must have you back again when you've complete your markers and have put your prices up. You can come back and sit down and have a conversation. Yeah, it was brilliant. Thank you very much for coming down.
Thanks for having me, mate.
Lots of beneficial stuff, hopefully, for everybody out there that will, once Chris has done his magic, will work really well for people.